Most men live their lives scattering their energy without even realizing it. They wake up already distracted, their minds pulled in 100 directions before their feet even touch the floor. The modern world feeds on your attention, and with it, your essence, the very core of what ancient traditions called life force. Semen retention isn't about suppressing desire or living like a monk. It's about reclaiming command over the biological current that drives your mind, your confidence, and your masculine presence. For centuries, warriors, sages, and kings across civilizations understood that the creative seed within man was not merely for reproduction. It was the physical embodiment of willpower, clarity, and charisma. The 7-day semen retention challenge is not a casual test of will. It is the opening doorway to self. When you stop giving away your energy to meaningless stimulation and begin holding it within, you start to feel the tension build. Not frustration, but potential, waiting to be shaped into focus, magnetism, and purpose. By day 2 or 3, something subtle begins to shift. Your body starts recalibrating, redirecting the energy that used to dissipate into fleeting pleasure back into the nervous system. Scientifically, your dopamine receptors begin to reset. You start craving less external validation and begin finding satisfaction in simple, purposeful action. Testosterone levels, according to research, can spike noticeably after a few days of retention, but the greater transformation happens at a psychological level. You start noticing the way people, especially women, respond to you. Not because you've done anything outwardly different, but because your energy signature begins to change. Your eyes sharpen, your voice deepens slightly, and your movements become deliberate. This is not mysticism. It's biology rebalanced. When your dopamine isn't being hijacked by constant release, it fuels motivation, alertness, and confidence. The very hormone that drives desire is now fueling dominance. And that shift in chemical equilibrium radiates outward as silent confidence, the kind that cannot be faked. By day 4, the challenge starts becoming more mental than physical. The body has adapted, but the mind conditioned by years of instant gratification starts to test you. This is where the challenge transforms from physical restraint into philosophical strength. You begin to see that desire is not an enemy to conquer, but a force to channel. Ancient Indian and Taoist philosophies called this process transmutation, converting sexual energy into creative and spiritual energy. Modern neuroscience might describe it as redirecting dopaminergic pathways from the limbic system to the prefrontal cortex, strengthening discipline and long-term focus. What both perspectives agree on is simple. When a man learns to delay gratification, he rewires his brain for power. Your awareness sharpens. You begin to sense energy instead of merely reacting to it. The same pulse that once drove you to seek pleasure now drives you to build, to move, to dominate your goals. This is the moment when you stop being ruled by desire and instead become its master. As you move toward the end of the 7-day challenge, you begin to witness how energy retention changes your social presence. Your dating market value, as people call it today, doesn't increase because you learned pickup tricks or rehearsed confidence lines. It increases because you've become a man whose energy commands respect. Attraction is no longer about looks or money, it's about frequency, the subtle, invisible resonance of self-control and internal power. When you walk into a room, people feel it before you speak. Women sense the difference between a man who chases and a man who magnifies. The human subconscious reads microsignals, eye dilation, posture, tone, micro-movements, all of which are governed by your hormonal state. Retention stabilizes those signals, creating a calm intensity that naturally draws attention. It's the same quiet dominance that leaders, warriors, and highly disciplined men have radiated for centuries. What you're really cultivating isn't celibacy, it's gravitational presence. The kind that redefines how the world reacts to you. By the 5th day, you start realizing that semen retention is not just about abstaining, it's about realignment. Every urge, every pulse of temptation becomes an opportunity to practice mastery. Your brain starts conserving neurotransmitters like dopamine and acetylcholine, increasing focus and fluid intelligence. The constant fog that used to cloud your thinking clears up. You wake up with purpose, your body humming with vitality. Philosophically, this is the point when a man learns that discipline is not deprivation, it's direction. The same energy that once escaped in a few moments of pleasure now fuels your projects, your workouts, your creativity, your drive to build something meaningful. Ancient yogic texts called this ojas, the distilled essence of vitality that gives a man radiance, courage, and magnetism. Modern science, though it uses different terms, mirrors this truth. Your hormones, neurotransmitters, and nervous system begin functioning in peak harmony, giving you both physical vigor and mental sharpness. Women notice not because you're trying to attract them, but because your energy now vibrates on a higher frequency, grounded, confident, uneasy. On the 6th day, the challenge starts to turn spiritual. You begin to notice that the same force that once ruled you can now be felt, observed, and directed. There's a powerful stillness beneath the restlessness. Philosophically, this is where self-knowledge begins. You start asking questions modern men rarely ask. What am I doing with my life force? Where is my attention going? What am I truly here to create? The very act of holding your seed becomes symbolic of holding your destiny. Scientifically, your brain has now adapted to this new state of equilibrium. Dopamine sensitivity improves, serotonin balance stabilizes, and cortisol stress hormone begins to decline. This neurochemical harmony produces a subtle yet profound shift. You become calmer, yet more alert, peaceful, yet charged. When you speak, words carry weight. When you listen, presence deepens. Retention is transforming not only your body but your consciousness. The mind no longer operates from compulsion but from choice. That is the moment you realize the real benefit of semen retention isn't attraction, it's liberation. By day 7, your energy feels electric. You have completed a full biological and psychological cycle. What you feel now is a preview of the man you can become if you sustain this practice with wisdom rather than ego. The modern world teaches men to consume, release, and repeat, a cycle that breeds weakness disguised as comfort. But through these 7 days, you've tasted what it feels like to be sovereign over yourself. You begin to move differently, slower, more intentional, more powerful. You start to understand that attraction isn't about chasing validation, it's about embodying value. Biologically, your elevated testosterone and balanced dopamine give you that unmistakable sense of calm assertiveness that people read instinctively. Spiritually, your energy becomes magnetic because it's not leaking, it's circulating within. Every woman you meet senses that strength, not as aggression, but as safety and leadership. Every man around you recognizes it as confidence, not arrogance. You've become what nature intended, a man whose presence influences the environment without trying to. And when the 7th day ends, you realize that this isn't the end of a challenge, it's the beginning of transformation. You've glimpsed a version of yourself that ancient wisdom spoke about and modern science now confirms. The man who conserves his essence is the man who masters his world. You begin to see that semen retention isn't anti-sex, it's power. It's the art of channeling the same creative energy that brings life into the energy that builds empires, ideas, and legacies. The challenge taught you restraint, but beyond restraint lies mastery of emotion, attention, and vibration. The dating market value you've gained is not a trick or tactic. It's the natural outcome of alignment between biology, psychology, and spirit. You no longer chase because you no longer need to. You attract because you've become whole. The energy you once gave away now fuels your purpose. This is what true masculine evolution looks like. Not dominance over others, but sovereignty over self. The 7-day semen retention challenge is only the spark. What you build from that fire is up to you. Before we conclude, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to drop your location in the comments. I love to know where you are watching from, and if you ever have any questions, join our Telegram channel where we interact directly and help each other grow. The link is in the description.